Over a month ago, the man of many talents, Jamie Foxx, suddenly passed out and was forced to be hospitalized following an incident on set of his new movie. This is just a reminder that actors are just like the rest of us, and unfortunately, that means that nobody is immune to the occasional health scare. Welcome to Beyond the Screen, I'm Nate, and today we're breaking down the top 10 Hollywood health scares worse than Jamie Foxx. Number 10. Post Malone. The famous singer, songwriter, and Bud Light commercial actor is known worldwide for his looks, his voice, and his all-around good soul. During a concert in 2022, Post fell through a piece of the stage, but he caught himself with his upper body. He was brought off stage by medical staff, but returned to finish the show. It was only the next day that Post was rushed to the hospital, claiming that he was finding it very difficult to breathe with like a needle stinging sensation in his lungs. Only 30 minutes before the start of his show that night, the audience were informed of the cancellation. The sudden canceling combined with the secrecy surrounding Post's hospital diagnosis had fans worried that he may never sing again. Thankfully, he recovered, and the reality was that Malone had cracked his ribs when he caught himself, but he was so full of adrenaline from the show that he just didn't notice. Not only did he later continue his tour, but he is scheduled to make a return to Boston for a makeup concert this summer. Here's hoping that someone closed that giant hole in the stage this time. Number 9. Jessie J. In 2020, the British pop singer was hospitalized when she woke up completely deaf in one ear and unable to walk straight. Upon further examination, it was revealed that the Bang Bang singer was diagnosed with Meniere's syndrome, which is an inner ear condition that can cause vertigo and dizziness. This is a condition that millions of people suffer from, and she received an astounding outpour of support and advice from fans. The main scare came with the realization that if Jessie is unable to walk straight or hear herself out of her right ear, how is she supposed to sing on stage for millions? According to Jessie, she spent that Christmas Eve in the hospital, but she's thankful for it. Otherwise, they may not have been able to catch the issue early, leaving permanent damage in her ear. While she now claims to be better, she has admitted that she's only feeling about 95% good. The other 5% of the time, she is in agonizing pain, and the fear of never being able to sing again is very real. Number 8. Iggy Azalea. Pop stars are just like the rest of us. Sometimes they need to maintain themselves by getting routine surgeries. For pop sensation Iggy Azalea, that routine turned disaster. Apparently, Iggy had been suffering severe back issues following her back-to-back summer tours, no pun intended. Her recovery from the surgery was only supposed to last for a short period of time, but it ended up leaving her bedridden for 3 weeks. In fact, she was actually set to return to her native Australia to film a movie, but that trip had to be cut off due to her being in so much pain. She claimed that she couldn't even remember 3 full days following the surgery just due to the severity of her pain. The relatively tame back surgery turned into a nightmare for Iggy, as according to herself, she was unable to do literally anything on her own and was hooked up to a large number of machines. The thought of anyone being hooked up to a million machines for medical purposes is depressing enough, but the thought of it being Iggy Azalea? Oh, somebody get me a tissue box. Fans were worried sick that she may never fully recover or return to the stage, but the most recent updates are that she's back on her feet and ready to rock. Number 7. Jeremy Renner. Jeremy first got into the acting gig in the mid-90s, starring in one of the first raunchy movies that I have ever seen called National Lampoon's Senior Vacation. So low budget and fun that if you somehow find a copy of it, please watch it, it's beautiful. Following his performance, he starred in a multitude of TV shows and movies, cementing himself in the Hollywood mainstream by joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe as the legendary archer Hawkeye. Unfortunately, this past winter, Jeremy was the victim of a very gruesome accident. He was attempting to stop a runaway snow removal tractor from sliding and colliding with his nephew, when suddenly he was dragged underneath the vehicle by its treads. The only footage released following the events showed Jeremy lying lifeless on the ground while receiving medical attention. After being brought to hospital, it was revealed that he had broken nearly 30 of his bones, including a collapsed lung and a punctured liver. Thankfully, the medical staff did their jobs beautifully, and Jeremy was released after only 2 weeks in the hospital. He certainly won't be filming any big action scenes anytime soon, but with Father's Day just having passed, this was surely a good opportunity for him to rest with his family. Number 6. Howie Mandel. The Canadian treasure and celebrity judge of both America and Canada's Got Talent suddenly passed out at a Starbucks last October while getting his morning coffee. According to guests at the coffee shop, Howie and some friends were standing in line when he suddenly collapsed to the ground. By the time an ambulance arrived, Howie was sitting up and communicating, which is a big step up from, being limp and unconscious. Patrons of the shop and fans of Howie were devastated by this news and feared for the worst. When people collapse out of nowhere, it doesn't tend to be for for a good reason. I don't know. Thankfully, the entire thing was just one big blowout. Howie was simply dehydrated and suffering from a low blood sugar. He released a tweet telling fans that he was home and feeling much better, and he was looked after by an incredible healthcare staff, and he thanked his fans for their concerns and well wishes. According to Howie, though, he was made to undergo a colonoscopy while he was in the hospital, so let that be a lesson to you. Drink plenty of water if you don't want a metal tube up your butt. Number 5. Stanley Tucci. The Hunger Games star is one of those actors that could be in like any movie and he'll steal the show. His performances in films like The Hunger Games, the Transformers franchise, and of course the animated classic Robots, has garnered him a fair bit of success and fame in his own right. It was frightening then when Stanley all of a sudden stopped appearing in big budget films between 2017 and 2020. The world was nervous as to what may have been happening to Stanley. Would he become like some of his fellow actors and just step out of the Hollywood eye to focus on family or personal life in general? Well, it turns out that Stanley had been undergoing a massive battle with cancer. Tucci told media outlets that he had a tumor the size of a small grape on his tongue that was growing to the point that it was affecting his speech. He decided to begin a private battle and he underwent chemotherapy treatments for 3 years. During that time, he recounts leaving his family in a constant state of fear and anxiety as there wasn't a real positive update on anything until roughly 2 years into his treatments. At one point, the chemo had left Stanley with a feeding tube for 6 months, unable to feed himself. Well, thankfully, he survived the battle and he has been slowly returning to the acting world. He knows that he may not be in the clear forever, but he has mentioned that the experience has caused him to appreciate what he does have and enjoy the moment while he still can. So, a little silver lining there for old Stan. Number 4. Carlos Santana. If mentioning this man doesn't cause you to hear some of the most incredible guitar licks of all time, then look him up and educate yourself. Carlos Santana is one of the greatest musicians of all time, with his group Santana pioneering a fusion of rock and roll with Latin American jazz. While performing at a concert in July 2022, Carlos abruptly stopped playing and informed the audience that he would need to cut the concert short before he suddenly lied down on the stage. The moment quickly went viral and it had fans on the edge of their seats for hours. Santana released an update and it turned out that he was suffering from dehydration following a fight with some nasty food poisoning. Hey man, if you just got over food poisoning, maybe take a break in between songs, or just don't come. They would have understood. The dizzy spell pushed back his tour, but he is a man of his word and he's currently set to make a return to the road for his new 1001 Rainbows tour. He thanked fans for the outpouring of support. With this on top of the recent passing of his friends Jeff Beck and Burt Bacharach, Santana claims that his sense of creative purpose has been restored, and I can only imagine the tracks that are about to come out of this man. I can't wait. Number 3. Justin Bieber. Justin has made headlines for several reasons over the years, but his most recent media takeover came in the form of a massive health scare. Justin announced that he would be calling off his world tour following a medical diagnosis. He received the news that he was suffering from Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, leaving his face partially paralyzed. It's a rare condition that, on top of that, negatively affects the nerves in the face and ears, making it essentially impossible to sing properly. While the virus tends to affect older people, Justin received a diagnosis at the young age of 28. He was out of the public eye for quite some time, but he has returned to the stage, opening his tour with a speech. He said, "This is my first day back and it's so good to be here. The Justice Tour is all about equality and justice for all, no matter what you look like, no matter your shape, your size, your ethnicity. We are all the same, we are all one." I love that so much. He thanked each and every one of them for attending the event with him before blasting into his first big performance back. Good luck, Justin. Number 2. Mark Wahlberg. Marky Mark was the leader of the Funky Bunch, and nowadays he's the leader of a posse. Mark Wahlberg has been starring in big budget flick after flick for the past 15 years at least. Remember, I did say big budget though. The man hasn't been making waves for a while. A couple months ago, Mark posted a photo of himself and TV personality Mario Lopez and kickboxer Rico Verhoeven at one of his F45 gyms, which Mark has invested heavily in. The photo appeared to be celebrating a good workout with the caption, "An amazing F45 workout dedicated to our veterans. Thank you for your service." Yeah, cause you know that some father stationed across the world is gonna be so happy that Mark squatted for him. While the workout was a success, a few hours later, Mark posted a selfie showcasing his new eye patch with a caption that said, "Don't ask." Somehow between the gym and home, Mark had severely injured himself to the point where he was unable to see out of his right eye for almost a month. It turned out that during the workout, Mark had accidentally bumped his eye into a piece of equipment, but he didn't feel the effects until after the cool down. Thankfully, the injury was not permanent, and Mark had a pretty upbeat approach to the situation, with some fans asking if he was working on like a Pirates of the Caribbean reboot or something. Hey man, I would watch Mark run around for 2 hours being like, hey guys, where's the rum gone? Number 1. Benedict Cumberbatch. Benny did this one to himself, unfortunately, after attempting some method acting for his Netflix film The Power of the Dog. He plays a man named Phil Burbank, a ranch owner with a penchant for inhaling tobacco products. To prepare for the role, Benny took up the bad habit, but with some serious health implications. While Ben was a heavy inhaler in his younger days, he had kicked the habit well before the filming began. He figured it would be an easy transition just to jump back into the carton, but unfortunately for him, the human body can only take so much. He accidentally gave himself nicotine poisoning 3 times during the shoots. Despite literally needing to be taken to the hospital, he maintained that the methods were necessary for the essence of the role. He stressed how important it was for him to submerge himself into the character, both on and off camera. Well, this health scare wasn't really felt by the public, but the crew working on the film were horrified. The possibility that the main actor could just collapse from self-inflicted poison at any moment left an air of fear and concern over the entire set. Filming may have been difficult for everyone involved, as the scent that lingered on Benedict was like an ashtray and a bottle of bleach at a baby, but the reviews for the film call his performance stunning and one of his best, so there you go. I'm not really sure what the message is there, but I can't imagine it's a good one. Those are the Hollywood health scares that rivaled Jamie Foxx. Has your favorite celebrity ever passed out suddenly while ordering their coffee? Well, leave a comment below and let us know. Thanks for joining me beyond the screen today. Keep coming back to the channel for more celebrity gossip every day. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Good morning. Ma. All right.